All I gotta say in this video, I owe Dana White an apology. I think we all owe Dana White an apology. I don't think we had enough faith in Mr. Pink. I don't think we gave him enough credit. I think we just all thought, man, hey, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's overstacking UFC 299. And UFC 300 is going to suck. But Dana White, aside from Bo Nickel, being on the main card, Dana White cooked for UFC 300. And now UFC 300, I know it has to play out because it's not always about the name value in a stacked card, because a card could be stacked but extremely overrated or boring once it happens, like UFC 296. One of the worst pay-per-views to close out 2023, but I don't want to get into that. But yeah, this could be boring, maybe. Who knows? I don't think so. But honestly, people said 299 was the real UFC 300 and was better. I don't think so. And UFC 299 was good, but the prelims were like okay. I think the Fight Pass prelims were good. The second prelims were kind of mid. RDA Gamrot was pretty boring. Macy versus Sermonara Chookagian was boring. Blades Almeida was good. Good to see Curtis Blades, get a finish over Jailton Almeida, who has an annoying style. But the main card of 299 was pretty good. Good main card. But the prelims didn't match. But the prelims of 300 are like insane. Like the Fight Pass prelims, Cody Garbrandt, Davison Figueiredo is opening up. It's literally opening up the whole card as a whole. And these are two former champions. The man who beat Dominic Cruz is the first fight of the night. Davison Figueiredo, the former flyweight champion, the wrecking machine, the guy who had 3 great fights with Brandon Moreno, is so low on the card. That's insane. But when you look at like how stacked this whole card is, it makes a lot of sense. Because like every fight on here could headline a fight night main event. This right here on its own could be like a fight night. Its own fight night card. Like Turner versus Moicano and Andrade Rodriguez, the co-headliner, this opening up the card. This in itself could just be a fight night card. A UFC on ESPN card. A TSN card. But it's on the Fight Pass prelims of one of the biggest pay-per-views of all time. Like, the only flaws in 300 is the crappy poster, the bland poster the UFC put no effort in, and Bo Nickel being on the main card. And there are some, placements on this card I would switch up. But, the fact that some of these guys are on the prelims make the prelims watchable. Like, I usually do not tune in for, the Fight Pass prelims. But come Saturday night, I'm going to be, at 6 p.m., I'm going to be, tuning in to the Fight Pass prelims. I usually don't do fight companions. I might do a fight companion, not for the whole card, because I'm going to be going out to watch it. And even if I wasn't going out, I'd probably be watching it with family in the living room. But I could do a fight companion just for the Fight Pass prelims alone, because that's how special it is. You know what I mean? I'm actually going to be tuning in. I don't know if I'll do a fight companion, but I will be watching everything. I'll be watching Garbrandt versus Figueiredo. I'll be watching Jim Miller versus Bobby Green. I'll be watching Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez, which that's a banger. I'm going to be watching Turner versus Moicano. And then I'm going to be going out to the bar extra early to see all these fights too. I don't really care about Home Harrison. I'm happy to see Kayla in the UFC, but the fight doesn't intrigue me, but whatever. Sadiq Yusuff and Diego Lopez, that's going to be a crazy fight. And then Calvin Kattar, Aljamain Sterling, that's an interesting fight right there, because Aljo is a former dominant champ of the bantamweight division, looking for a fresh start at featherweight, and he's got a really good chance at beating a ring-rusted Calvin Kattar coming off a knee injury, who might not be the same. Aljo just might go out there, he might just backpack him, that is. And then Yuri Prohaska versus Alexander Rakic. That fight, I mean, who knows? It could be a depressing, boring decision in favor of Rakic. I hope not. I want Yuri to spark this guy. This fight will only be exciting because of Prohaska. Although that's not entirely true, because Rakic actually can be exciting and aggressive, depending on the opponent. He did push the pace against Uzdemir and Blachowicz. So I hope that along with Yuri, he obliges to an exciting fight. But Yuri on the prelims, like, bro, that's insane. I mean, honestly, this fight should be opening up the main card. Both should be like the first fight of the prelims as a whole. And the prelims headliner should be Sterling Cater. And the prelims co-headliner should be Garbrandt Figueiredo. That would make more sense. And I would move Andrade. I'd move Miller Green to like the ESPN prelims. I'd move Sadiq to the Fight Pass prelims. I'd move Turner and Bobby Green higher up on this card. That's what I would change. But man, this card is actually amazing. I'm so hyped. Never been so excited for a pay-per-view, but I'm sure that's how people felt about UFC 200. And it was a boring card. But I think a big part of why 200 was ruined is because, John Jones pulled out. Well, he was pulled from a failed drug test. Dana White removed Conor from the card for not showing up to the presser. Kind of lame and gay that he would do that. Because relying on John Jones was a mistake. But, man, we're going to be eating good. The prelims, the Fight Pass prelims. I've been waiting for Green versus Miller for a long time. It better not get canceled now. I have also wanted Andrade Rodriguez for a long time. I'm hyped for that. Figueiredo Garbrandt's a fight I've also been looking forward to for a while. Turner and Moicano don't really care. I care about the fight, but I can live or die without that fight. But it's a good fight. Yuri Rakic, that's a fight that's been in talk since 2021. It finally happens. I cannot wait to see how Aljo's featherweight debut goes. Kayla Harrison's UFC debut. Meh. But it's a good fight on paper. And then the main card. Get this man off the main card, man. Come on. No one cares. But Oliveira Saryukian, bro. Like, none of these fights are skippable. Except for Holm Harrison, maybe. But every other fight is like you have to tune in. You cannot miss. Dana was not capping when he said UFC 300 was going to be a special pay-per-view. And people are like complaining about the main event, Pereira Hill. But what are you complaining about? Isn't that what we wanted? Didn't we want Didn't we want Poatan to headline 300? The guy who beat Israel Adesanya 3-1. And is the double champion of the UFC, former Glory double champion. I mean, he's etched his name in history right now. Alex is a future Hall of Famer, and he's headlining a big event against Jamal Hill. And on paper, it's an exciting clash of styles. How are you complaining about this being a main event? Like, I get it. It's not John Jones. It's not Conor. It's not Israel Adesanya. But who cares? I mean, I feel like people are still complaining because of their unrealistic expectations. I think people were expecting, like, Khabib to return on this card. People expected all the Muslim fighters who have Ramadan around this time to be fighting, like, Khamzat, you know what I mean, Islam. People were expecting Jones to be on here when he's still recovering from the injury. I expected Conor to be on here, but whatever, he's not. Doesn't matter. Who cares? We got two good title fights, 3 good title fights, because I guess the BMF title. But I mean, if you put aside your expectations of what you originally wanted, if you can just accept this card for what it is, I think you'll actually appreciate UFC 300. Like, besides Bo Nickel and Cody Bummage, every other fight here is like fire. Oliveira Saryukian, that's going to be an insane fight. Risky fight for Charles Oliveira, who should have been fighting for the title, should have had his shot rescheduled. I mean, the nerves, the stakes of this fight just make it so damn exciting. This is a fight that Oliveira could lose. I'm picking him to lose too, but he could prove me wrong. I mean, I've been wrong picking against him before. I hope that doesn't change now. I want to be wrong with this fight. But I do see Arman winning. But Charles Oliveira could go out there. He could knock this fool out. And then Holloway Gaethje, Max is taking a big risk. moving up. He could have stayed at featherweight and waited for Ilya. He's moving up. He's taking a chance. He's gambling on himself by fighting Justin Gaethje, taking his second shot in the lightweight division 5 years later. And I didn't think about this. Max will be fighting Justin Gaethje on the 5-year anniversary of when he fought Dustin Poirier. When he fought Poirier, it was April 13th, 2019. 5 years later, April 13th, 2024, he's back at lightweight fighting Justin Gaethje for the BMF belt. And hopefully, second time is a charm and he beats Justin Gaethje. And then, this fight, whatever, China versus China, Weili's going to crucifix TKO her. I just have a feeling, I have a vision that she's going to ground and pound Yan Xiaonan, ragdoll her, and then get her in the crucifix and do what Carla did. This fight, it's just thrilling. Like, it could go either way. I'm picking Alex to win, but I have a weird feeling that Jamal is actually probably going to KO him. And I think Alex is going to be winning the fight, chopping at the legs. He'll start slow, and then out of nowhere, Hill backs him up against the cage, explodes forward. Pereira does not do well going backwards. Off the back foot, his defense is not that great. And Poatan, against the cage, might get cracked and put unconscious. I just have a weird feeling, I have this visual that that's how the fight's going to end. I'm picking Pereira to win. I'm not saying I think Hill wins. My gut's kind of telling me something like the opposite might happen here. But I'm not trusting my gut because I don't know, like, either way, I'm not confident in my prediction for this main event, but I feel more secure and safe going with Alex. Like, that's how I felt about Ilya Volk, where it's like, I probably should have picked Ilya, but, like, what if I picked Ilya and was wrong? I'd feel so much more stupid then, as opposed to being wrong picking Volk, because Volk's not a bad pick. He was a dominant champion. He's beaten everybody, so no shame in being wrong about Volk. Like, there's no shame in being wrong about Pereira, whereas if I pick Hill and say he gets calf kicked up, pieced up, and then knocked out like Yuri did, I'm gonna feel ashamed of myself. So I'm going with a safer bet in Alex, but do not be surprised if he gets laid out, because that's what makes this fight so exciting. It's unpredictable. Either man can get knocked out. And also, UFC 300 just has potential to be one of the best cards ever, but also be heartbreaking. Like, there's a lot of fear I have going into this card, because you got fan favorites like Pereira who could potentially lose. That would be sad. I mean, I actually want Hill to win, but for other fans, that would be sad. What if Yan Xiaonan pulls the upset? I would be pissed off because I like Weili. I'm pissed at Yan because she stole my other girl, Tatiana Suarez's title shot. That would make me really mad, because then Weili's going to get a rematch, no title shot for Suarez. And that would suck for Zhang to lose to, a subpar fighter like Yan Xiaonan. Really sad to see Weili Pereira lose. And then Gaethje Holloway, that's another fan favorite fight where, like, fans don't want to see either guy lose. No one wants to see Justin lose, get finished. No one wants to see Max lose, but Max might get finished on Saturday, and that would break a lot of people's hearts. If Gaethje loses, he says that if he cannot be champion, and he will retire. This is his last run towards the title. One more setback could be his final fight ever. So this could be the last time we see Gaethje in the octagon. And then Charles Oliveira. He's taking on a dangerous opponent in Arman Tsarukyan. And there's a chance he might lose. Like, we might see Pereira, Weili, Holloway, and Charles lose in one night. Weili's not losing, but that's besides the point. And Gaethje losing would be sad. But then this fight too, Yuri Prochazka and Yuri Prochazka and Alexander Rakic. Do you know how depressing that would be if Rakic went out there and beat Yuri? Because Rakic is a hated fighter. A lot of people don't like him. He doesn't have the most appeasing style. He's not a fan favorite, so fans would hate it if Yuri goes out there and loses 2 fights in a row after everything he's been through with the shoulder injury, losing his belt, losing to Pereira. Like, no one wants to see that. So, this could be a sad night. Cody Garbrandt could get knocked out again. Lots at stake on this card. Like, if Yuri loses, if Pereira loses, if, Max gets finished, Charles loses, fans could be in for a heartbreaker on one of the best cards ever. But then again, like the worst could happen on Saturday, but the best could happen. And that's what makes this card so exciting. If I could have it my way, Whaley wins, Max wins, Charles wins, Hill wins, Yuri wins, and then I go home a happy man. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, 299 was a great night in terms of wanted outcomes, but not so much. Well, I can't say. Why am I saying not so much? UFC 299 was a perfect night in terms of outcomes because everyone who I wanted to win won, especially on the main card. But who knows, man? As a sacrifice, things could go the complete opposite at 300, but we'll see. Either way, I'm happy. I'm looking forward to it. And Saturday night, it can't come soon enough.